Hey, this is Laura Whitmore with the She Rocks podcast, and I'm live at NAMM with Yasi Hofer. So stoked to talk about guitars and music and whatever else we got coming up. Hello.
Hey, Laura. Good to see you again. Good to be here.
Yeah, really great to see you. So I understand that you have a new album out. Can you just share a little bit about that?
Yeah, my third studio album, actually, and it's called Freedom, and it just turned 1 year old.
Okay.
And it's the proudest thing. It's been so much fun, and it's like, there's a song on there that's called City of Greenfields, and so many people picked up on the song because we had like a really cool music video onto it.
Oh, nice.
So it feels like the third album, Freedom, has really like pushed me on my path, career-wise. So it's
really funny because I think we met a few years ago, and the other day someone was saying to me, "You really need to know Yasi. Like, have you met her before?" And I'm like, "Of course.
Oh,
like,
but
I know
nice.
She's like incredible."
Do I know that person? Or
yes, you do.
Okay. Well, I'm just glad that people talk about me. It's always a good thing.
They talk about you, and I think you were on the. You played on the She Rocks compilation too. I think we had a track from you on that.
And that's when we met. I think like 3 years ago, the album
right.
got released, and that's when we met, and I got to play the She Rocks Award show because of that. So,
and the producer of that was talking about you the other day too, saying like how much he's blown away by your playing.
Oh wow!
And just like I don't know, you have this ease about you when you play. Like when I see you play live. It just seems so natural, to watch you play. So can you share a little bit about your background and how you got started with guitar and developed your technique?
Sure. I mean, I started playing when I was 12. So it's been 15 years now of playing guitar.
Wow.
And my guitar teacher, I had like a teacher for the first 2 years. And he introduced me to Steve Vai after like 4 or 5 months of playing. And I was so blown away that I said, I want to be able to play this. So I checked out all of Steve's music. And doing that, I feel like the first years I developed and evolved so much as a player because I was not scared of saying I can't play this lick or this song I can't play for the love of God. I just was like, I'm going to do it. And I sat down for 10 hours a day for many, many years. And I'm glad I did that because
you put your 10,000 hours in or more.
I've never actually took a calculator and did that,
you don't
but
need
it's
to.
been so many hours. And that's kind of like what you, maybe not everybody, but I wouldn't consider myself a natural talent as a musician or a guitar player. So I had to spend a lot of time evolving my technique. So it's like, you got to sit down and you got to practice. But for me, it's never been work. And that's what you say when you see me play. It looks like it's easier. I'm just in it. That's because, I've been working so much on it that it just feels naturally, you know? Normally, if I have times where I practice a lot, I always said to people, if I play guitar, it's like breathing. It's just, it happens naturally.
That's it. It's like, it just feels like it's a part of who you are. And you're not, it's not even that you're necessarily like putting on a show. You're just up there being you.
Being me and being in the moment and being with the music and enjoying the music. And that's something that, if you want to be able to be at that point where it feels at ease and still be technically, you gotta put the time in and practice. But it's always been fun for me. I always love doing it.
Do you feel like your technique has evolved even like recently? Are you always like looking to go to new places or?
Actually, yes, but I had like problems with my tendons.
Oh.
So I had to stop playing for a little bit. And I'm just trying to get my way up. And it's interesting how you see I've never before not played guitar for 2 weeks, but recently I always had to whenever there were a few days where I hadn't needed to play guitar, I had to put it away and not play. And it's crazy how fast you kind of feel like you're losing a lot of the technique.
Interesting.
But it's because I'm if you're high up, it's been a little weird. It's been a little confusing, but I'm still I take it as a competition and see okay, what else can I do? I mean, it's not all about shredding. It's not about technique. So I'm trying to get into jazz a lot more. So I'm hoping to get influenced by jazz musicians fusion players, and I feel like I've evolved a lot in that direction, and mostly in songwriting actually, because I'm writing music constantly, and it feels like I've grown a lot as a songwriter over the last 2 years. So that's more that than technique-wise, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, I think too, when you have a challenge like that, a physical challenge or whatever, it sort of forces you to explore like different directions that you would not have gone in. But I mean, those are not necessarily bad.
They're not bad. And I've actually started working more on my vocals, because I've been singing on all 3 of my albums, but I wouldn't consider myself a great singer with technique. I don't have it. So I've taken the challenge to work on that more. And now I'm like, feel like I got a little better at that.
That's really
too,
cool.
so.
I love that. Cool. So you mentioned to me before we got on air here that you are working on something acoustic. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you share about what that project is a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I'm writing a lot of music, and I had a lot of songs that I felt like have to be played on an acoustic guitar. And it's actually, I'm planning on releasing 2 records. One that's going to be all instrumental acoustic songs, and then one that's all with vocals. And I'm like, even on the production engineering side, I'm like, I don't want it to be more than 1 or 2 acoustic guitars that I play myself, and maybe bass and percussion. So it's really like, I want to keep it simple and concentrate on the song itself. So it's going to be really exciting, because if no one's heard any of the songs yet, and it's not something that people that know me as a rock instrumental guitar player would expect from me. It's totally different, and it's like it focuses on the songwriting, on the lyrics, because I feel like I have a lot to say and that I want to talk about.
I'm so excited to hear that.
Yeah,
That's
it's going to
really
be
cool.
really exciting. I have no idea if people are going to like it or not, but I don't even care. I just want to do it and then see what happens.
Well, I think it's so interesting when you see a player like yourself who has like amazing technique and chops, and then they go in another direction, like songwriting direction. For example, like Tal Wilkenfeld did her album this year, and it's always cool to me to see someone go beyond like the typical singer songwriter type material, for example, because you can bring some of who you are as a player to that. And that pushes that in a different direction.
Right. And Tal is a good example. I saw her last night, and for me, of course, I know her as a bass virtuoso, and that's what you kind of would expected her to do. And she did something totally different, and it was beautiful. It was amazing. I mean, the songs.
She has a great voice, like who knew, right? And her songwriting is beautiful. So that's inspiring, and I'm like, it was super stoked to hear where you're gonna go.
Yeah, and it's not gonna mean that I'm not gonna do. I'm also working like on a fourth instrumental record, and all that's gonna take place. But I love being able to, if I have the time to like do more things at once and go in different directions if I feel like it. So,
and I think artists today, like I guess it used to be, maybe because of the way the labels were set up or what have you, that, you had to sort of be unidirectional to kind of build on your pasta sauce and keep your fans, engaged and everything. But now, there's so many avenues to get music out and do different things and collaborate, and there's really an opportunity to explore multiple directions at the same time.
Right, yeah. And I feel like I would hope that if you have fans of your music or as an artist, I would hope that they're open to artists expressing themselves in whatever way they feel like. And for example, I'm a big fan of Steven Wilson. I'm not sure if you know him.
No, I don't.
And he's like, you never know what to expect when he releases a new album. And I love that, because like it feels like I know he's keeping true to himself. And if he feels like doing a more pop album, then okay. I'm like, it's
good for you. That you sound like you're being very prolific lately. You have like a lot of stuff going on, and I know from my own perspective, like I'm working like 20 jobs, and the music doesn't always come first, but you keep plugging away. So,
of course,
It's good that you can feel like, okay, I can do this songwriter album. I'm going to work on another electric album. And,
well, I gotta say, I'm a workaholic too. So I can't stand still and not do anything. I always have to like
Yeah, you probably don't sleep that much either.
Mostly not, no.
Do you record yourself or do you work in a studio or like?
I record myself. So far with every album we released, we went to the studio for drum recordings.
Yeah.
But I'm actually building a home studio right now.
Oh, wow.
So because I
That
want
way
to be
you'll
able
really
to do
never sleep. And
might happen. Yeah, because
you'll
like
never see anyone else.
I want to be in control of everything.
Yeah.
Which is difficult because it's going to take up so much time, but I want to be able to have a home studio and have a drum set up there and like work on the sound that I hear in my head, because sometimes it's difficult to tell someone about the sound that you hear. I feel like it's hard for me to explain that sometimes. So if I can just work on it myself, and then I have my drummer that lives like 15 minutes from me. So if we have that studio built, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it does create the opportunity for more flexibility and like that you can record like, okay, you know what it is. You don't have to wait till you have studio time. You just like go and do it.
And do it
then, like,
anytime.
Anytime. And then maybe tweak it or maybe throw it away, but whatever, but that's your choice. But you can get a great recording of it from the beginning.
Right. And not be under pressure. I hate, like, if you're in a studio, you always look at the watch and you know, okay, this costs so much money.
How much is this costing me?
Yeah, so
sing better.
Yeah, right. Could you please play this in one take?
I know, right?
It's too much pressure, though.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's good. So, can you share a little bit about like what your go-to guitars are and what your setup is and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I signed with Ibanez last fall, so my main guitar is the new Ibanez AZ series. I think they released it 2 years ago, or kind of like around the time when I signed. And I love this guitar because it's the first time that I can go to any gig with just one guitar.
Wow,
I mean,
awesome.
I probably don't all of the time because you got to have a spare guitar with you. But yeah, so Ibanez guitars, and I'm using Earthquaker pedals.
Oh, yeah.
And what else is my setup? So far, I'm still playing a Carbon Legacy amp, the Steve Vai sound.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult to find an amp that sounds like this. And I'm not a person, I have like no external overdrive. So my main lead sound really is the amp.
Yeah. Cool.
And so, I have a basic setup.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
And what acoustic guitar are you using for your
Ibanez too.
Oh, really?
I don't actually know the exact model that I have, but it's Ibanez acoustic,
Nice.
So
nice.
I'm all on board with Ibanez. Which is not, which is a good thing.
I do feel like Ibanez has been super supportive of players of all kinds, but especially female musicians. And I know a lot of great players that use Ibanez. So,
yeah, that's true. And the good thing is that I have people, artists and relations, my guys, they're in Germany, and they're like 3 hours from where I live.
That's fantastic.
And that makes a big difference because if you don't get to meet the people in person here and there, if you have like questions or any problems or whatever, it's good they're around, and they're like really supportive. We're trying to set up a masterclass tour for me this year, which is new. I just did one so far for Ibanez and I loved it. It's like such a new experience, and being able to like share whatever experiences I have and feel like people get something out of it. It's like so much fun. It's just as much fun as like being at a rock show and performing.
It is like when you feel like even one person has been inspired by their interaction with you.
It means so much.
You know? I feel that way too, because I'm like, you're working so hard, and then all of a sudden someone's like, I've been so inspired by what you do. I'm like, okay, it's worth it.
The world. It's like, doesn't get much better.
I know, it's so awesome. So you've been touring too, right? In support of the album, and so are you going to be playing the U.S.?
I'm trying. I'm like working on it, but it's really difficult because I don't have a booking agency over here. So I would love to do it, but I haven't figured out how to get here yet.
That not yet.
Yeah.
Well,
but I'd love to. Actually, I played a little duo performance yesterday with my guitar teacher from Berkeley, which was so much fun because I haven't seen him since my year at Berkeley, which was 2011. So we've seen each other yesterday for the first time since then, and like right with the guitars and making music together. It was so special, and he said that he would love to do and set up a show at least in Boston and New York. So we said we're trying to make that work. So that would be a start. And New York and Boston, it's not like it's good places to start. And then let's see.
Good audiences and everything. Well, yeah, you should reach out to me. I can help you with that too.
Okay. See, that's
because I want to see you come to the U.S.
Oh, I would so love to come and play over here. And
So, is there anything else you'd like to share about what you've got coming up, or were we really good at covering all the bases?
Oh, you were so good at covering the basics. Yeah, I mean, as said, like I'm working on the records, my studio album, and the acoustic album, and then we'll be heading out on tour again. It's like that's every year the same.
Yeah.
Of course, if I have a new album out, it's more shows, and so this year will be a little. Not as many gigs as the year before, which is good because I need the time to record and everything.
Right.
But yeah, you got it all covered.
And how do people find out about what's happening with you? Where should they go?
Well, they can go on yasihofer.com. That's my website. Could sign up for a newsletter there. Then they get all the important news. Or I'm always active on Instagram and, of course, Facebook. And it's always Yasi Hofer. Yasi with Y at the beginning.
And you guys, you owe it to yourself to just like look on YouTube for a video of Yasi playing, because you'd be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then I would recommend checking out City of Green Fields.
Yes.
Where we have the music video with an amazing original 87 Ibanez. The Steve Vai Ibanez, and so
nice.
Something to check out.
So we'll put some links in the description so that people can check that out.
I'd appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. It was great to catch up with you.
Thank you, Laura.
Best of luck with everything you have coming up. We'll put an update too when things come out.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Laura.
All right,
it's been
thank
fun.
you.
Thank you.